Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and it's live on News Up here at Desawe, Kanda. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Calipo and Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future. Two persons arrested in connection with assault on head pastor of Agape Restoration Ministry at Community 19 in Tema.
Parliament approves 2019 budget.
Electricity company to install lighting arresters across the country to avert power outages.
Also concerns fly over NDC's new filing fee of 400,000 cedis for its presidential aspirants.
Ahead in business this evening, 39 proposals undergoing credit appraisal to receive funding to establish new factories.
Also on the international front, U.S. President Donald Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleads guilty to lying to Congress in relation to the Russia inquiry.
The details of these and much more news coming to you live here on News 360. Our bulletin streams all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Let's get started with our very first story this evening, as two persons have been arrested in connection with the assault on head pastor of the Agape Restoration Ministry at Community 19 in Tema, Reverend Ebenezer Arthur, and some church leaders on Wednesday, November 28. The suspects include a former NDC parliamentary aspirant for the Krowo constituency, Daniel Alabi, popularly known as Blowman.
The police says it has been confirmed that the attack was orchestrated by the former NDC parliamentary aspirant for the Krowo constituency, Daniel Alabi, alias Blowman. Police investigation so far has revealed that there is contention over a piece of land being occupied by the church. Property worth thousands of cedis is said to have been destroyed in the attack. The two have been arrested on a provisional charge of causing damage and harm. According to the Greater Accra Region Police PRO, DSP Efiatinge, efforts are underway to arrest the other suspects.
Since the incident, the police have been able to get the arrest of these two suspects, only two suspects. And the others' efforts are still underway to also get them arrested, that is if possible, because the issue of identification also come in here. But the said Daniel Alabi and one of his accomplices are presently in police custody, assisting police in investigations.
She cautioned the public against the use of violence in settling disputes.
There are processes, and I mean due processes, for anybody to follow when it has to do with claiming of a parcel of land. Taking the law into your hands, beginning to brutalize people unnecessarily is uncalled for. And with this that the police has, all that we do is to do due diligence and ensure that we get the suspects arrested and brought to book.
The pastor is still on admission at the Dampon Medical Center at the Spintex Road, responding to treatment while the two are in police custody.
We're keeping an eye on this particular story and we'll be updating you a lot more in our subsequent bulletins here on TV3. The Parliament has approved the 2019 budget that was presented to the House by the Finance Minister 2 weeks ago. The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, in his submission hinted his side will not be part of approving the 1.5 million cedis budget estimate allocated to the Ministry of Special Development Initiative because, in their view, it is duplicating the work of the district assemblies.
Debates of the budget statement started last week and came to a conclusion on Thursday, November 29, which saw the minority and majority leaders taking their turn.
How can you say that a government which has contributed to halving poverty, a government which has provided health infrastructure to contribute to addressing maternal and infant mortality, a government which has provided education infrastructure has no social intervention?
Under the watch of the NDC, over the 8-year period, the cedi depreciated by close to 267%. And these are the people who are saying that we should give the economy back to them. Today, over the 2-year period of Akufo-Addo, the cedi has depreciated. Yes, it has depreciated, but cumulatively, Mr. Speaker, it's about 18% for 2 years. Check your own. Mr. Speaker, so we should be realistic.
While the minority leader described the budget as a borrowing budget, the majority leader said it is a budget that would add value to the human resource base of the country. Haruna Idrisu called for the scrapping of the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives as it was duplicating the work of the district assemblies.
We on this side will not support any budgetary allocation or appropriation to that ministry because, Mr. Speaker, the creation of that ministry pursuant to the poverty policies in the MPP manifesto, IEP as is captioned, is creating conflict with the established development authorities of the president. The ministry is now intended to do things that ordinarily must be done by the development authorities or at best by the district assemblies. And a whoop 1.5 billion is being allocated to that ministry. We want the conflict resolved.
But the sector minister, Hawa Kumsin, explained her ministry plays a distinct role.
The development authority is under the Ministry of Initiatives, so you cannot be conflicting. And if he says the district assembly, that's what I earlier on explained, that we are not conflicting because the district assembly has been in existence for so many years now. And we still have these infrastructure deficits in the communities. Talk about toilet facilities. Talk about water to the communities. Go to the hinterlands.
Now, Cabinet has approved a draft bill towards the election of MMDCEs. Local Government and Rural Development Minister Hajia Alima Mahama, who made this known at the launch of the 70th New Year School, said a referendum would be held in September next year to pave way for the elections.
The appointment of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives has been blamed partly for the ineffectiveness of Ghana's local governance system. No wonder a lot of contributors during the Constitutional Review Commission meetings under the late Professor Mills' administration insisted on MMDCE's election. But a seeming lack of political will, which has over the years kept the people from their desire, appears to be giving way.
We are hoping that MMDCs will be elected in 2021. The key obstacle in getting our MMDCs elected is amendment of Article 55(3) of the 1992 Constitution, which is an entrenched clause.
Hajia Alima Mahama disagreed with claims that electing MMDCEs may create political challenges, making reference to Kenya, South Africa and Rwanda, which have understudied Ghana's local governance but have taken the lead in electing MMDCEs without challenges.
So we should begin to recognize that if people choose to have an MMDC, in fact, in many areas, the DCE may be even more important to the local people than the president. Is that not the case? Because it's the one they interact with and relate to all the time. So the DC may be an important person, very important person. So they must have the right to decide on who should be that DC, that chief executive for them.
The election of MMDCEs is expected to form part of discussions at the 70th Annual New Year School and Conference on the theme, Building Strong Institutions for Democratic Consolidation in Ghana.
As a tradition, the resolutions from the school are presented in a communique for implementation by the various stakeholders. We believe that the school will have a new color and shape responding to the need of the country.
The 4-day annual New Year School and Conference is scheduled between January 14 and 18 at the University of Ghana, Lagos.
Let's go to education now. The meeting between aggrieved members of the CTAG, that's the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, and the Wages and Salaries Commission ended inconclusively. That's the news just coming through here. The National Labour Commission has also asked them to develop a roadmap by Monday, December 3, to resolve the problem, or will push for compulsory arbitration. That's the news just coming through. Had to indeed follow up this particular story to get some further updates. Just coming out of that meeting with the National Labour Commission, Professor Benjamin is the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, that's CTAG. He joins me in studio. It's good to have you. Now, we understand that this meeting ended inconclusively. What exactly prevented an end to this particular strike that you're having after the meeting with the NLC?
Yeah, exactly what happened was the fact that we actually indicated that we've not been on strike all this while.
What have you been on?
We just
You've
froze.
not been in the classroom.
We froze some of the services that we require.
You've not been teaching the students.
Sure,
they
we
reported
agree.
to school 2 months ago.
We agree.
No teaching and learning.
When you look at the job description, we teach, we conduct research, we carry out community service. We do a lot of things that together earn us our salary at the end of the month. So that we've not been teaching does not mean we are on strike. We are all at post.
I see, but
so we doing all these things.
Your core duty and responsibility is to teach the students. You agree with me, don't you?
Sure.
Right. And they have been in the school for the past 2 months. And this academic year, or this academic term, is of 4 months. 2 months wasted. And you're saying you are working. I honestly don't understand you.
We are at post, technically. And we are still carrying out some of these services, community service. We conduct research. We're doing all these other things.
The students are expecting you in the classroom.
We stated that emphatically before the commission. I kept telling people that we were on the right side of law, and that people who jumped the gun to pronounce our strike illegal, I believe they would agree with me by now. We have never been on strike. We froze certain services. It's about semantics, choice of where people decided to call it strike. Who are we to tell people not to call it strike?
What happened at the NLC meeting today?
Well, at the end of the day, the NLC wanted us to, call the strike off as they wanted to call it. For us, we said it wasn't a strike action. We froze service. So to defreeze the services that we frozen all this while. And then arrangements will be made, as it were, to pay us the November salary that we kept saying has been unlawfully withheld.
Why do you want your November salaries to be given to you? Because I understand the NCT, that's the National Council for Tertiary Education, and the ministry took this decision. And you say it is illegal.
We kept saying it wasn't their mandate to decide that the strike, the action was illegal and that they were not going to pay. We kept saying that. And indeed, the agreement was that they were going to restore the November salary and that we were to start work immediately, and then we were to engage with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, as it were, to be able to find solution. But we were not satisfied with that.
Why?
Was to give us that open-ended roadmap, as it were, without any timelines. We find it difficult. If you say that our salary will be restored.
No, but I understand by December 3, there's supposed to be a certain plan in place that you're supposed to follow.
That was after we had rejected or we had failed to reach agreement.
So now that there are timelines and there are dates, are you going to call off the strike?
I will not say that we are on strike. We are not going to defreeze the services.
So are you going to start teaching or defreeze your services?
Sure, we wouldn't, as
Why?
it were. We still remain where we are.
But you've got a date. You've got a deadline. You've got some deadlines and a roadmap to what you're asking for.
We expect that tomorrow the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission will engage with us, and if the engagement is good enough, then we'll report to the National Labour Commission on Monday. Other than that, the National Labour Commission will have no option than to begin the process of forcing us into what we call compulsory arbitration.
But you know, the students are also complaining that you shouldn't take entrenched positions in this case because the students are feeling the impact of what you're doing.
I'm not very sure the students have said that, but for the purpose of our viewers, you would like to ask that. If you listen to the statement that the student leadership,
they agree with the demands that you are making, but in the end, some of them are packing to go back home because they've been in school for 2 months. Nothing is happening.
Packing because it's the government team that has taken an entrenched position. If we come for negotiation for good times, and you remain at the point where from day one up to day one, I don't see that as negotiation. That is imposition. That's what they were trying to do. So if by tomorrow we're able to meet and we get somewhere, then maybe by Monday we'll make a determination on the frozen services. Other than that, we'll have no option than to move to the level where compulsory arbitration process will commence. So
we're going to wait for tomorrow for the outcome of that particular meeting you have with the Fairways and Sellers Commission. Great. For Prince Obeng is the president of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG. So live on TV3 on MTN Video Report tonight. Ahmed Tijani Marini reports on an abandoned vehicle which was provided for the municipality by the Peace Council in Boko in the Upper East region.
I am currently at the garage of the Boko Municipal Assembly here in Upper East region. This vehicle or minibus we are seeing today with the bold inscription on it, Boko Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee, is the main vehicle which was provided for the municipality by the Security Council with the main purpose of going around the various districts within the Boko municipality to portray and preach peace. Today, as we speak, this bus parked here has not moved for the past 3 years. Boko Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee and the members are very worried about this particular situation. A call on government, on MPs, on philanthropists to see to it that this and many more is provided is yet a question unanswered to them. It is a wake-up call that the committee is really suffering. If you have the heart to know that peace is a virtue and you want to promote peace, come to the aid of the Inter-Ethnic Committee. My name is Ahmed Tijani Marane, a citizen journalist.
Send your MTN video report to 055-1433-3044.
Business news is coming up next with Parkwesi Asari here on NEWS360. Stay with us.
Hello, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the business news on NEWS360. My name is Parkwesi Asari. In our very first story, Ghana loses more than $3 billion annually through corruption, particularly in the area of public procurement. Renowned economist Ishmael Yamson, however, believes the nation can only ease procurement processes to derive value if the Public Procurement Act is amended to take away the overly political control and influence. My colleague George Quenin reports.
In recent times, public procurement processes have resulted in wastefulness of national resources, while some individuals have unduly benefited in the process of acquiring products for the organizations at the expense of the nation. This is partly because there were no ethical considerations guiding the actions of purchasing professionals. Speaking at the induction ceremony of the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, renowned economist Ishmael Yamson explained the critical role of procurement and supply in shaping Ghana's future. He wants a review of the Public Procurement Act, Act 633, which focuses more on how to spend money rather than using procurement as a strategic tool and creating value.
Often, agreements and contracts are negotiated and signed by authorities outside the structure that the law has defined. If Ghana must use procurement law and process to derive value, the law needs to be amended to take away the overly political control and influence. And we should not be surprised why every succeeding government accuses members of predecessor governments of alleged criminal negligence in agreements and award of contracts that have caused our country huge losses.
President of the Institute, Colin Sapon, stressed the need to institute sanctions punitive enough for practitioners who see procurement and supply as an avenue to selfishly enrich themselves.
You are required to uphold the Constitution, Code of Ethics, and reputation of the Institute in the course of practicing procurement and supply chain management as a professional practitioner at all times.
In all, 9 fellows, 47 full members, and 61 associate members were inducted into the Institute with a call on practitioners to perform their duties with integrity and transparency to add value to their respective organizations. The event was under the theme, Developing Ethically Upright Procurement and Supply Professionals for Nation Building.
Away from procurement, let's find out what's happening in the extractive industry, because the Ghana Chamber of Mines wants government to enact a Mineral Revenue Management Act to engender transparency and accountability. The Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Suleiman Akone, explained the absence of a consolidated framework in the collection and management of mining revenue is worrying.
Ghana, though ranked as the second largest producer of gold in Africa, most mining communities have little or nothing at all to show for the wealth that passes beneath their soil. This is a situation that has called for the enactment of Mineral Revenue Management Act. This act, according to the Ghana Chamber of Mines, would guide government on the utilization of revenue garnered from mining.
We believe that it is something we need to have as a country. Oftentimes we hear the lamentations that we don't see what to get out of the mining industry, because a chunk of it goes into the consolidated fund, and that's where it ends. It gets lost. You can't even track it over a very long period. A very, very small percentage now goes to the Minerals Development Fund, which goes to the subnational level, the districts, and for development. What we are asking for is a comprehensive framework, both at the national and subnational level, which helps us to track how mineral revenues are actually used across the country. So that is what we want. We want more transparency so that we will be empowered.
What has the feedback been? According to him, in 2017 alone, the mining industry contributed more than 3 billion cedis to Ghana's direct domestic tax revenue, but none can account for its usage. Speaking at the second public lecture to commemorate the institution's 90 years anniversary.
We know government said it is committed to it. The manifesto of this government had it. Our former minister also mentioned that, yes, the government is committed to it. And we have no doubt that they are committed to it. What we are asking for is expediting of action in these things, because if something is important and it's critical, you want to do it and do it quickly so that you can get the benefits.
Suleiman Akone called for a concerted effort to help the mining industry. Contributing to matters raised at the lecture, Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, said Ghana must be strategic in the exploitation of some minerals. Instituted in 1928, the Ghana Chamber of Mines is the main minerals industry association in Ghana. The chamber represents the collective interests of companies involved in mineral exploitation, production and processing in Ghana.
You're still watching the business news on 360. Senior Minister Yao Safo-Mafo says it is only greed that will drive some enlightened and prominent Ghanaians to invest their monies with questionable investment schemes, despite their unrealistic rates. He was speaking at a ceremony to climax the Securities Week organized by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Formally set up in September 1998 as an independent regulator of the capital market in Ghana, the Securities and Exchange Commission seeks to regulate and promote growth and development of an efficient, fair and transparent securities market in which investors and the integrity of the market are protected. Speaking as the special guest of honor at the award ceremony, Senior Minister Yao Safo-Mafo warned that the Securities and Exchange Commission and other regulators of the financial sector will witness a collapse of the system if rules and regulations are compromised. On his part, former Finance Minister Professor Kwesi Botwe indicated that when financial systems are distorted by politics, the consequences are dire.
The only way that we're going to enable the SEC to flourish and to do all the things that we plan to do to make this vision even more vibrant will happen only if, as a nation, we learn to preserve the integrity, independence, and professionalism of our institutions and not always subject them to the vicissitudes of political transitions.
This year's Securities Week marked the 20th anniversary of the Securities and Exchange Commission, which saw some staff awarded for their dedicated service.
Well, that's all for the very latest in the world of business. Thanks very much for watching. For more business news stories, do log on to our website, www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare.
Thank you, Paul. With business, let's go on to some of the stories now. The National Democratic Congress, NDC, has pegged its filing fee for the flag bearership position at 400,000 cedis, with a nomination fee going for 20,000 cedis, total of 420,000. At the news conference in Accra, the General Secretary, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, said the party has rescheduled its primaries to elect a candidate for the 2020 elections to January 19th next year.
The decision on the presidential primaries comes barely 2 weeks after the party elected its national executives for the next 4 years. Former President John Dramani Mahama, the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament Alban Sumani Bagbin, former Minister for Trade and Industry Ekos Pio Gabra, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies Joshua Alabi, former Deputy Minister of Finance Kweku Ricketts Hegan are among 12 personalities who have declared their intentions to contest the primaries. Others who have expressed interest are a former CEO of National Health Insurance Authority, Sylvester Mensah, a former MC of Kumasi Kojo Bonsu, Nuruddin Idrisu, Stephen Atubiga, and Gusitano. The party's General Secretary Johnson Esiedun Ketia announced the filing fee for females and persons with disability is 20,000 cedis, stressing claims that the filing fee for the aspirants is high is relative.
If you compare these monies against the cost of organizing the activity we are talking about, you see that the party will still have to raise money to supplement whatever will be accruing from these filing fees. If you want to compare us to MPP, 3 years ago were charging 500,000. We were all with you here in this country. Did you complain? And 3 years on, we are charging 400. And you still say ours is too high.
He said the elections will take place in the 275 constituencies, including the national headquarters, making it 276.
Let it not be heard that after you come to buy our form is non-returnable, and therefore the money is non-refundable. So before you come, access yourself that you actually want to purchase our form.
Per the statutes of the NDC, the election of a flag bearer was to have taken place by December 7 this year, 24 months ahead of the 2020 general elections. However, the Delegates' Congress was postponed and held on November 17, a change that subsequently affected the date for the election of a flag bearer. This compelled the party to amend its constitution to enable the presidential primaries to be held on January 19 next year.
Well, so this matter has generated a lot of reactions indeed from the presidential aspirants themselves. Let me go on to Skype now, and Dr. Edward Brenya is a senior political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He joins me. Doc, thank you for your time. Good evening to you. If you listen to the reasons for this particular figure, it appears that they say they want to test the capacity of the candidates to raise funds, and also they need money to organize the Congress to elect the flag bearer themselves. Now, what's your opinion about this? 420,000 cedis in total for the male presidential hopefuls.
Listening to the General Secretary and the reasons that power
for charging the 420 for the male aspirants. And looking at what happened in Ghana, the fact that the government does not fund political parties, one would think we want that it may be a nice way of raising money so that it will be able to fund its activities. But when you look at the other hand of it, I think it goes to add on to the point that we've been having in this country about politics being monetized. We are like 420. If you look at all the male aspirants, I mean the hoped one, the ones that are likely to win the election, each one of them probably will be able to raise this money. But my concern is that, what does it say about the worry that is being in the country on politics being monetized? I think that then it could have used other means of probably selecting the candidates and raising money other than taxless individuals, which may create a situation where individuals who may be and capable but not able to raise that 420 cities would be deprived of the chance of leading the party should the electorate want them to lead the party.
Actually, so we get the understanding that all the candidates will be meeting tomorrow at the instance of a meeting called by Alvin Bagman, who himself is hoping to lead the party. But what will be the consequences if the party decides to stick to this, even though there's going to be probably a proposal from the candidates themselves?
I mean, the concern is going to be that, if we will, the survival of the fittest. Those that are able to raise the money will then be the ones that will have the chance to contest for the probability, I mean, for the likelihood of being selected. That, in a way, would deprive individuals who possibly could be the choice of the electorate but are not able to raise the money, the chance of being presented to the electorate to be elected to represent them.
You have said earlier, this amounts to a monetization of the process. One concern that has been raised by many. Now, if this is supposed to sieve and reduce the number of people contesting, how dangerous is this option, if indeed that's what the NDC wants to do?
I think we should also look at it from the point of view of the individuals that these candidates are supposed to represent. If these individuals have, I mean, like any of these candidates who is not able to raise the money, it does deprive the electorates of the opportunity to have their choice of candidate elected. The General Secretary also talked about the fact that they didn't want to bend in the electorate. Rather, they wanted these candidates to be the one raising the money. I think that when we compare it to developed countries like the US, it is because these individuals are the ones that raise the money that the electorate in many instances fall short of being able to hold them accountable in the way that is done in the West. And I think that the NDC could take a second look at the amount. The General Secretary also make a comparison between what the MPP did 3 years ago. If it's not right, then I don't think we should emulate it now.
I'm grateful for your time this evening. Thank you. Dr. Edward Brenya is a senior political science lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. You're live here on News 360. We're back.
Right, so tonight we'll start with Inshra Yeboah. Now, she's an 11-year-old pupil who looks up to TV3's anchor, Natalie Ford. Inshra, DJ Switch's classmate, has spent a year admiring Natalie's mannerism and wants to become a news anchor just like Natalie.
Inshra Yeboah attends talented Royal School at Weja in Accra. The talent aspires to become a TV personality someday. Pretty and charming Inshra is inspired by TV3's news anchor Natalie Ford. She has started nursing the dream to become a top news anchor and seizes every moment to rehearse. Perhaps Natalie's tutelage could help her realize her dreams.
I work
watch 3 News almost every evening because of Natalie Ford. She's my role model. She inspires me to become a TV presenter. That's why I watch News 360.
Right, so you like Natalie Ford?
Yes, I really like her a lot.
What do you like about Natalie?
I like the way she speaks and the way she dresses.
Wow. How does she speak?
And I'm Natalie Ford.
That's amazing. And so, you have any message for Natalie Ford?
Yeah, I want to tell her I want to meet her so that she can help me become a TV presenter in future, just like her.
Right, so how long have you been following Natalie?
Natalie, almost a year now. I really like her.
How she speaks, her accent.
Yes, she's really nice.
So watch straight into the camera and then deliver that message that you want to give Natalie Ford.
Hello, Natalie Ford. I really want to become like you in future. Because of you, I want to become a TV presenter. You are my role model. I love you. Bye-bye.
So cute. I think she was blushing from side to side. She's got a little fiery eye in the studio. But away from that, he shot to fame in the late 90s together with other promising Ghanaian actors. His role as Aluta in popular lifestyle TV series Things We Do for Love earned him more admirers, landing him a major breakthrough. On Throwback Thursday, also arrived finds out what's up with versatile actor Rudolph Clotte, aka the Great Aluta.
Wisdom languages. What do your friends call you? Aluta, sir. Aluta? Then automatically you're one of the rapists. I wasn't, sir.
Born in the late 70s, Randolph Clotte was among the few child actors to land roles in TV theatre on GTV. His looks, eloquence, and prowess in acting made him stand out. His career took a quick turnaround after featuring in TV series Ultimate Paradise and Things We Do for Love. Nicknamed Aluta, Wisdom Blagoji was a smart young man who found himself in the midst of other adventurous guys, Pusha, played by Ajete, Killer, and Shaker, played by Majid Michel in the youth-focused popular series. Vincent Macaulay played Max in the acclaimed series too. In the midst of the notorious young men, Aluta had the responsibility of protecting his kid sister Enyonam, played by Jackie Appiah.
It was a huge responsibility on the head of this character called Aluta. And, well, one unique thing about the character was that I developed a bushy hair, which eventually became, my niche, or, that people identified with, with time. And I think I enjoy the character, I enjoy the character.
The memories are simply amazing.
Someone like Jackie, like I said, came in along the line. I remember her first day on set. When she came to sit by me, she was supposed to be, but she's open when she has to do what she has to do, and let me use the word small girl. She was promising.
Fast forward 2018, his contemporaries Majid Michel, Ajete, and Jackie Appiah are counted amongst Ghana's finest actors. The versatile actor, who has been producing and directing commercials, says he takes pride in everything he's done. And like his nickname Aluta suggests, the struggle still continues.
And that's Randolph Clotte, aka Aluta. My name is Miriam Osei Ajman. That's about it for the entertainment news tonight. There's more on 3news.com. Good evening.
So much for the entertainment news, Miriam. Let's take a look at some more stories this evening before we wrap up. As Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says 39 proposals are undergoing credit appraisal to receive funding to establish factories. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia said that these factories will be set up under the One District, One Factory policy. He was speaking to Ghana's diplomatic missions at a forum in Accra.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia emphasized that 79 factories under the One District, One Factory policy will be rolled out this year. These factories in the 2019 budget are expected to receive stimulus packages to employ more youth. That notwithstanding, another batch of 39 proposals are under consideration to also receive funds and set up the factories. The Vice President was elated these factories, when fully operational, would address the unemployment challenges in the country.
The various industries that are setting up with the likes of
Volkswagen, Nissan, Sinotruk, China, Aker Energy coming in from Norway, ExxonMobil is also coming in, and so on. So there's a lot of interest in Ghana, given where we are going.
Minister of Trade and Industry Alan Kwejo Chamatin emphasized on government's industrialization drive to achieve a Ghana beyond aid.
Within the context of a Ghana beyond aid, it depends on a number of factors. And the most important, I believe, is to have a stable macroeconomic environment. Because unless you are able to develop a strong, resilient macroeconomic environment, you cannot talk about industrialization.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Sheila Yokobotwi, pledged strong commitment to promote the sale of local products on the international market.
The ministry continues to leverage the tools of economic diplomacy through its missions abroad to actively promote Ghanaian goods and services, as well as attract prospective investors for much-needed foreign direct investment.
The forum was to dialogue on how to improve on trade and investments with international partners and also discuss the sustainable development goals.
Well, that's it for News 360. As always, on behalf of the rest of the team, we are indeed grateful you spent some 60 minutes with us. My name is Alfred Okanse.
And I'm Natalie Fort. There's a lot more news on our website. It's 3news.com. Remember, news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening.